So we are very thrilled to have you for this event. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. And this is our first in-person Upbuild event that we've had since the pandemic. So there is a significance. We really exist to bring community together. We are so much loving to be together and to create what we call Sangha in Sanskrit, the company of like-minded persons who are advancing, growing, spiritually developing. And we've missed that opportunity to be together in this way. But over the course of the pandemic, we've been very fortunate to maintain a certain spirit, a certain momentum, and even discover many new things and new persons as part of the Upbuild community through the online medium. And this is really an evening to celebrate being in person, back together. Many of you also meeting for the first time in the flesh, which is very exciting for us. And we're so deeply honored. We are also deeply honored that we have, as part of this celebration, very, very welcome guest, Sacinandana Swami, who is, I will introduce in a moment, but very dear to us at Upbuild. So the way this will work, the subject is, as you can see here, doubts about a spiritual reality. So if you have any doubts that there is a spiritual reality, you've come to the right place. Whether you are completely new to any spiritual practice or path, or whether you've been, like me, traversing a spiritual path for, well, now well over a decade. It's been about 16 years. You may still find there are some doubts. And this is a time where we can hopefully address and face some of those doubts with the wisdom of someone who has done that in his own life very expertly, as far as I'm concerned, as I've seen. So the format will be that Sacinandana Swami will give a talk, and he will, at around 7:45 roughly, bring us into an experience where we'll have some meditation. There will likely be some musical meditation as well. So we want to also not just speak about the spiritual reality, but try our best to tap into it. I mean, of course, we also do that by speaking about it, but some experience that will anchor it even further. And then we will open it up at about 8 o'clock for Q&A. And so we'll have roughly half an hour to do Q&A. If you have any questions on the subject for Sacinandana Swami, that is a very good time. And then we'll serve a dinner of spiritually sanctified food at 8:30. So you can make your way to the back where there will be food at that time. And also, Sacinandana Swami will be here to answer any questions, to meet you. So this is also a chance to connect with him personally as far as possible. Does that sound good? Wonderful. So the culture of learning that we always ask for is 3 things. And those of you who've been with us at Upbuild programs, you know we really love to hammer this home. It makes such a huge difference. So what we ask for is your full-hearted participation, your undivided attention with your hearts, your respect to create a safe and sacred space together. We are all co-creating that. And your determination. And this is really important because it's easy to come together and feel like, oh, that was such a wonderful time. But what happens after? Do we want it to just remain something that was pleasurable and maybe spiritually beneficial, for sure? But to get the maximum benefit, we need some determination to come in with an intention that I want to walk out changed in some way, that there's something that I've been given that I want to keep with me that will make me different from when I walked in here. There will be jewels of realization that are being offered. Let's mine them. Let's make that our intention to mine them and keep them. So your full-hearted participation, your respect, and your determination is what we ask. By a show of hands, are we good with that? Ready? Yes? Thank you. So Sacinandana Swami is a bhakti yoga practitioner for more than 50 years and has been a monk also for so many decades. He is incredibly experienced in meditation and also the form of meditation that's called kirtan. Those of you who are familiar with the yoga scene, you may know musical meditation, kirtan. We'll get a taste of that this evening. And he travels around the world sharing what he has learned on this path. And he is my personal guru and a guide to upbuild. We are here by his grace, really by his guidance. And we're so, so thankful that he is with us and in person. So with that, I will turn it over. You can just give a nice warm welcome to Sacinandana. Thank you. Floor is yours. Thank you.
Before I start talking about the subject matter, I must express my profound joy to see you in real person, not just little windows in the Zoom gallery. I've seen a few of you, most of you, during the upbuild program called On the Brink of Death. I think you might remember. On the Pamela, who gave me all these tours through the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I hope to see you, and it's very nice. I see Jai Jagannath in the back. Thank you for attending this. And other Shipala is here. And so are so many of you. And thank you very much for making the time to come and attend this program. And obviously, with a title like this for a lecture, I needed to really think about what I will present to possibly help you to solve some inner obstacles in the form of doubts that either consciously or subconsciously hinder your progress in your own spiritual life. So thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me your attention for this 45 minutes or so, which I will speak, and then I will take you into an experience that you will never forget and that will dissolve all the time. Even those very deep in your unconscious mind. In other words, we will have to do a little bit spiritual archaeology to go really to the place that the doubts are residing. And let us see, we are dependent on, how do you say that? You know, we need a spiritual experience, but that is not always under our control alone. So let us all give our best, you as listeners, to create an intention, and myself and my little band who will help me to bring you into the experience towards the end of this presentation. As we monks do, we always open the space with incomprehensible words in prayer. I will speak. And then you can, if you want to calm your mind a little, so that it's listen. Swami, Namaste, Saraswati, Why do we have doubts in this world of reality? Why do we sometimes ask ourselves if there is even such a thing that is beyond our perceptions and our minds? The Patanjali Yoga Sutras have a very good take on it. They say when the soul leaves its spiritual domain and comes under the influence of the material energy, it will be covered with something that is called avidya. It is an disability to understand who we really are. Instead, we are equipped with asmita. This means a false identity. It can change, but the root of all our roles and the designs which we make for our lives is based on this asmita, this ego. It's interesting, the Sanskrit word asmita can be translated as nothing to smile about. Smita means a smile, can be translated as a smile, and A means no smile. They further develop attachments and things which we absolutely do not like, dislikes, and the end result of what happens when the spirit soul comes into this world is abhinivesha, deep absorption oh, I must do this, I must do that. This is a duty. The 1,000 urgent things of material life often take over and we are absorbed in them. Without going into all of these five, I would like us to look a little on avidya, this disability to understand who we are. Patanjali makes it very clear. What is this avidya? The eternal soul identifies itself with something that is temporary. Life in this world, which is ruled or framed by birth and death. The soul which is full of bliss without knowing to go to Google to find out what is bliss, what is happiness. You know, that soul which is carried by an expanding type of causeless happiness, so to say, comes neither looking for happiness. Then finally, there are other consequences. An example is given because examples sometimes help us to bring philosophical points really to something. When the spark is in the fire, it dances very nicely. There's qualities like light and heat. But when the spark falls out of the fire, these qualities get extracted. There's no heat and no light. There's only black. I hope you know this word. Charcoal. This is an American word. Charcoal. You put it both there dancing with the heat, the fire. It falls out. This is charcoal, and you put it on your cloth. Yeah, you need to know how to get it out again. So in the same way, when the spirit leaves the spirit atmosphere, it comes into the material atmosphere, which is foreign to it. And as a result, the spiritual qualities, which were once inner, which were once fully manifested, they go. They are extracted. We become adopted to the new atmosphere in which we are. And then we have doubts. Is there really a spiritual reality? Almost like the charcoal is asked, is there something like dancing in the fire? I don't remember. I forgot. So what I want to say is doubts in the spiritual reality is absolutely normal. You are not the only ones with mixed emotions about spiritual life, spiritual reality. And I am surprised these doubts can revisit you even when you are in the spiritual path and you come a little bit under the material influences again. And all of a sudden you think different, you perceive different. And then you think, I've seen dying monks who at the deathbed asked, is there really a supreme being? And also, is there more than just this body which is paining and which is soon dying? Yes, and the material and the atmosphere of the influences get overwhelming. Even someone who trained to have access to the spiritual reality was carefully opened a tunnel, so to say, a pathway, can all of a sudden ask such questions. So I want to say this to make you feel comfortable and maybe to help you also to confidently face these doubts, to admit that you have them, and that you could have them. Fine. This is the first thing which I would like to tell you. I would like to know, well, could go in many ways. There's an ancient story in one of the Upanishads about a king. Not a king, a normal merchant, actually. Not everyone has to be a king. He goes into the forest to find wealth, its roots, or things that are buried under trees, maybe gold, and so on. While he walks, he suddenly comes to a trap. It's an abyss which is covered with sticks and some grass on top. He doesn't see it, and he goes and what's that? Down until he lands in a network of plants which have been made to catch his fall. The fall was so long and everything was so traumatic that he completely lost his memory. When he wakes up, he finds all kinds of people around him who put some straw in his nose and ears and make the investigation. Finally, one of them nods. He is found to be worthy. So they take him and they make him the next king. He is totally forgetful of his previous existence, his wife, his children, his business. He's dressed with a miniskirt of attractively looking bones. Not for us, maybe, for our taste, but New Yorkers could maybe get it. With all kinds of things on the street. Didn't think of such a thing, but let's be tolerant. So, and he finally learns the language of these people who live and this down there, and he becomes adapted to the new atmosphere. He rules this new tribe, and everything looks all right to him until his brother finds him, who has also gone the same path. He went in the forest to look for his elder brother, then fell in the trap. But he didn't forget, he didn't lose his memories. He's kept there as a slave. So one day the brother sees his elder brother dressed in this charismatic dress, the king. And he goes, "Brother, how do you look?" Brother recognizes the language. Something gets through to him. He tells his minister, "Bring him to me." In the language of the Epistella. And yes, I will make the story very brief. A younger brother visits the older brother, and slowly in the talk, he wakes up from his amnesty, but he's not willing to go with his younger brother until the younger brother finds out that he has only 3 more months to live. And 2 years, and that's 3 more months. And then these abyss dwellers will boil him alive and will eat him in the belief that special power comes into them if they eat the tree. So the younger brother found it out, and he did. It's not safe here. Under the why is it not safe here that the older brother and king come with me, I will bring you to the place of the old kings. They go there, they see the stone across the yard, next to the boiling pot, bones, and the young brother said, that's your destiny here, is not to call to eat. Older brother wakes up and said, let's go, brother. And they say, so, yeah, we also, when we fall from our spiritual to the spiritual level, and by the way, that doesn't have to be something like the original fall, which we have learned maybe in our Christian traditions, that we fall from the spiritual world. That's also, I was talking about this. But this can happen when you fall from the spiritual level of perception, when you come under the influence and you forget this spiritual reality and exchange it for this avidya, this ignorance of yourself, the ego and the attachments and the dislikes, and the whole losing the point when you are totally swallowed up by the stress and hectic of the constructed life. So, yes, my dear everyone, what is the way out then? How can you solve this dilemma? And I will say very simply, you need an experience of the spiritual reality. An experience which helps you to remember what you have forgotten. An experience speaks louder than volumes of wisdom texts. An experience speaks louder than all the doubts which are put into our brain by others. An experience speaks louder than your doubts. And it speaks more convincingly because it gives you something that is something that your soul has not forgotten. Something that you desperately crave for. I once wrote a poem. When you see me crying tears, and you ask me, why are you crying? I will give my tears other names, but in reality, I'm crying only for you, although I will give my tears other names. Yes, the craving of the soul cannot be satisfied with the pleasures of the world. And we look for these type of pleasures which the world cannot give us, but which the world cannot take away from us. This is what a spiritual person feels a little stirring in the soul, knows and feels. So yes, spiritual experience. I would like to address two doubts. Is there a soul? Is there God? And would say how for me, a spiritual experience has answered this question in a most satisfactory way. I shared with you something in the On the Brink of Death episodes. may I just have a quick show of hands? Who of you has been in that episode where I talked about how I left my body in that great hospital in South Germany? Okay, that's maybe 1/4 of you. So I will briefly summarize it again. I was being rolled, I will skip all the talk before, on one of these rolling beds into the surgeon's room of a hospital in Waldkirchen, that's a German town. I remember how the anesthetist from Lund, Sweden, said to me in Swedish, you won't feel a bit. I said that, let me trust you. So I was brought under the narcotica. I had started to work. I had gotten the first injection while I was in my room to calm me down. I said, I'm not a hero on the surgeon's table. Give me enough, please. And then this anesthetist had put a few things in my veins, one on the right arm. And yeah, the next thing I knew, it was a terrible pain in the belly. They had to cut open my belly. Actually here. I was demonstrating my bit of Chinese torture. They knew how to do it for the days. You don't die. And so on. In the old times, I think maybe it's forgotten knowledge now. I don't want to say anything bad about any country. So I tried to lift my hand, or it didn't work any longer. And I remember, okay, let's bring now a little scientific. The intention to lift the hand has to come first. Intention, will. Then how do we do this? I have to somehow put this into the nervous system, I guess. I don't really know how to do this. This is done automatically. Lift the hand, it didn't work. I heard people talking, and the pain became so excruciating, so bad, that I thought I could get maddened. And finally, I felt no pain. I was floating in the atmosphere, looked down, and there was my body. A moment later, I remember this, Dr. Bauer, he was a chief surgeon, told to his colleague from Lebanon, and when you do golf, you know, for the white ball, you just go like, you make. And I remember he talked, I was a little, and all of a sudden, I saw blood coming out. Dr. Bauer had been a little bit absent-minded and had just cut one of the main arteries in the, and it was coming like a fountain, and everyone said, I don't remember the conversation afterwards. There was panic in the surgeon's theater, and my God, this is much blood. I see all this. No, I don't even look when someone puts an injection in the left arm, right arm. I don't cannot watch this. I feel that. And just upon wanting to go, I left, but not through the door. I left through the wall. And I was still floating. Okay, I said. In the waiting room is Agni Dev, that monk friend of mine, whom I have requested to pray for me while the surgery went on, just in case So let me check if he actually prays or if he is asleep. Because he gets up very early for his ultras. So I remember, my dear people, this you can't forget this, how you move by your willpower. That's the only way I can explain it. And you know everything. I know staircase up, left, right, Hospitals can be big. And I'm there, and there's Agni Dev. And he is not asleep. He prays. So I'm a little bit playful by nature. There are playful monks. That is not a problem. So I thought, let me live a sign with him. Let me just kick that vase on the table over. Then he may, and then I tell him afterwards that it was me. I wanted to do this, but then I thought, this is not the time to be playful, Sacinandana Swami. Be serious, this might be the end of your life, and you want to go with a few ghostly experiments. This is not the right time to come down with it. But I felt so joyful and so like my natural self. I was not so worried anymore because I lived outside my brain and outside my body. I was alive. I was not even my playfulness had not even left me. So good. Okay, go back to the session and build it, and it was very instant. Not like in the movies where you see left, right. You just time is different in this and space is different. And yes, when I see the blood is under control. They have some of this was not such a big wound apparently, but big enough for the fountain of blood. The start. Some of the and then I become very serious. This could be the end. At that moment, I see my life passing by. I see scenes of my childhood. I see a red house in an ocean of snow, our holiday house in Sweden. I see myself utterly bored in the school. I see all the things of my life pass by in a quick succession, and I know this has been reported in many books. You see the film of your life, and I start to pray. My dear Lord, you know I've tried to dedicate my life to you. Whatever happens now, I place in your hands. Please be with me. Let everything go according to your plan. And at that moment, my dear everyone, I see the Lord who I have worshipped before me. He smiles, but he is also a little almost like a little, don't you know? Little, but he communicated, don't you know I'm always with you? And one thing, no need to panic. This is not the end. I have to show you something so that you know you're the entity that exists separate from the body and the mind. You know, you can tell people about it, and you'll have important work to do. You will come back almost with a little smile, you know. Like this. I can only say that, not like you think it's easy. It will be easy. So the next thing I wake up is the next thing I know, I wake up, I'm rolled out of the surgeon theater, and there is the anesthetist from Lund, from Sweden, who says, "Didn't I tell you, you wouldn't feel a thing?" And I'm too tired to argue with him. And if you don't know, it's just wasn't allowed to see, but at another time, I want to sleep now, and I cannot talk now. So yes, the doubt was taken away, or a certain certitude was given by a direct experience. That's my point. A spiritual experience that has clarified the doubt. And it stays with me. I can never deny this. I can only remember it. And I have nothing to do. I could now talk, well, I think I put everything in one. Also, I don't doubt that there is the Lord whom I worship and so on. He has told me something that's real. And the whole experience, I did this double check because I knew maybe in times to come I would have to talk to people who would have their various explanations for this. I met Dr. Bauer afterwards, 2 weeks. He had to look at the wounds that was healing, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you want to talk to me about something?" I said, "Why?" "Well, he had to do a second surgery on you. Something did not work all right in the first surgery." He was very careful. He didn't mention his golf playing. And I said, "Why do you not talk about the truth?" He went pale. You know, I come from North Germany. We talk very directly. And if you hear some direct talk, understand it's a cultural specialty which you hear. So I said to him, "You were talking about golf. And you talked about," I forgot this, there's a certain, I knew it at that time, but it's a certain beat, you know, the long distance. Said, "No." I said, "Yes," and the sound of your no betrays you. And I can tell it. He was adamant because he couldn't get fines for this as a surgeon. Then 4 weeks later, I came to him and this time I asked, "Do you want to talk with me about something?" He said, "How do you know?" I said, "I left my body. I was out of my body for some time. I was there. I was in the waiting room." "Did you look at the waiting room before you came here?" "No, I came directly to meet you. I didn't have to wait. I had an appointment. I was not in any waiting room." You know it. "You will not find me." I said, "I should have. You did your best." And then he said, "Is there life beyond the brain and the death and everything?" I said, "I have to look for you." Read in the second chapter, the first you don't really need to know at the first run. Read the second chapter here, "For the soul is never birth, nor death. Nor does it ever cease to be when its last come into existence, and so on. And you talked about became a reader of the Bhagavad Gita. This was a shocking experience for him. And so, yes, a spiritual experience. My dear everyone, this is what you need. A spiritual experience comes usually by a practice called sadhana. Sadhana, sat, is the word sat, eternal, the eternity. And the sadhana has certain practices which you do every day. And the sadhana then, let me say, the spiritual practices which you do have in them an inherent spiritual potency, which is described as taraka and paraka. Taraka means it frees you from this amnesia, this doubts, and parakasha means it pulls you to another reality, the perception of the reality. These two energies are embedded in the spiritual practices which you do, in the sadhana which you do. When you build up a sadhana, you have to build it up, do it regularly, in other words, then you will all of a sudden, then you will have these spiritual insights, these realizations, and you also somehow feel how this inert spiritual longing is awakened, and your spiritual brilliance, the spiritual qualities are coming forth. Let me give you an example which brought me in trouble in South America, the south of North America, Florida. So I will give this example. I've learned from my mistake, I will give it, but it's given in the Vedanta Sutra. It means just like there's virility in a little boy, it is not yet manifest. In the same way, there is spiritual potency within all of us, which may not be manifested at the moment. However, by the appropriate spiritual practice, this spiritual potency is giving a chance to manifest. It's almost like growing up for the boy. The boy only has to grow up, and then he's able to start a family. Not always, but nowadays we hear it is increasingly difficult for couples, but that's another thing. That's too much stress and too much unhealthiness in the atmosphere. But normally in a young boy is the ability to have a family, and he just needs to grow up. And these spiritual practices, so to say, help you grow up spiritually. And at that time, these two potencies manifest in you. That is the Taraka Shakti, that come free from almost a cloud that has covered you, and the Paraka Shakti, the Shakti which is, so to say, a turning up of the volume which all of us have. That's the volume of our spiritual longing and of our spiritual interest. It becomes very pronounced, and then very quick answers come from that spiritual reality. I will now introduce one of these powerful practices with you. I will have to secretly watch the time without you noticing it. I'm sorry, little less on this required. Oh my God, we are over time. No problem, no problem, no problem. because we need to make the experience. Good. It will be brief. We are not so much over time. I need to see. Could you follow? Not all of you, not the heads, so here's your summary. It is natural to have doubts when we are under the influence of the material energy. These doubts can be easily overcome by experiences, and the experiences are possible by spiritual practice. It's very important for me to say, you can't think yourself out of the problems in which you have brought yourself by your thinking. No. You have to have a spiritual practice that can help you to go beyond the mind and beyond the mental sphere so that you enter the spiritual. Ask yourself, what sees the world? And the answer is my eye. But is that already perception? No. What sees the eye? My mind. What sees my mind? My intelligence. What sees who or what sees my intelligence? The Atman, the spiritual soul. Who or what sees even my soul? It is the Supreme Being. So I want to guide you now into a session. It's from my new book, but I will not make an advertisement for the book. Not in this. Thank you, Sacred Assembly. Very good. Are you ready to create an unerasable memory?
Yes.
Good. My English is all right. You can hear.
Yes.
I'm sorry for my voice. It is just now coming back. Let me start with some poetry, just to make you curious. There's a fragrance in a flower. There's fire hidden in wood. There's butter in the milk and sugar in the sugarcane stalk. In the same way, a discerning person from the upbuilt community. Oh my God, that's an interpolation. That's not really here. In the same way, a discerning person can perceive the spiritual self that resides in the body, like the fragrance in the flower, the fire in the wood, the butter in the milk. A discerning person can see the spiritual self that resides in the body. And we will try now to walk the path of discernment by our meditation. Yes. Can someone please? So yes. Jana, you're there. Would you be so kind to come here and assist with playing cards as soft as you possibly can when the time comes? So here I have cards. You can sit down on the chair next to Krishna. It's more. That's all right. Not too cool. And Sorry. Wonderful. There's nothing which I enjoy more than sharing the deep spiritual experience. And I wish you all the best. Please be fully present. It is very safe, don't worry. And it's very deep. So please sit in a comfortable position. It's good if you can, when you sit on the chair, to sit a little back with what do you call this? Everybody, the sitting bones, a little bit back, please. Why? Because you want to sit in an erect position, not like in the Western movies, you know, when the cowboys sit with their feet on the table. You want to sit straight, really. Yes, move your head a little bit. You want to really find a relaxed position. Use your, do this, please. Bring your arms up. By this, to open your chest for the breathing bell. Please put your hands on your thighs. If palms up is a comfortable position, that's good. But if you prefer to do the other way around, palms down, it also works. In this meditation, it's not so. When you're ready, gently close your eyes, please. Mentally scan your body part by part. Start from your feet. Move upwards, knees, and then your sitting bones. And relax. Continue to move up your lower spine or lower back to your upper back. And just relax. You can maybe remember what an expert you are in relaxation. And just thinking what happens every night when the muscles of your body relax. The difference here is that we relax the body and our mind becomes incredibly aware. Go to your chest and your belly and relax. The back of your neck, the head, top of your head, and try to bring relaxation. Both of your shoulders, both of the upper arms, and the lower arms, and the palms. Relax. Please relax your shoulders a little bit more. So much tension. But imagine the feeling of the move easily in the direction of the current. Your forehead. Relax. Feel the muscles in the face. Relax. The inside of the mouth, the tongue, the lower jaw. Relax. Appreciate for a moment now your entire body is very nicely relaxed. And you are in there waiting for meditation. We start by watching our breath. When you inhale through the nose, notice how you are inhaling. Pay attention to the ingoing breath. And whenever you exhale, as you do your next rhythm, stay with the breath. Remain with the breath. All your thinking, all your awareness now with your breath. Should thoughts come or let them come, let them go and bring them no attention. Just bring your mind back. Go in and out going. Note how your mind settles into a feeling of peace and calm. Now, please draw your attention into the region of the heart. This is done most easily by breathing in and following the flow into the heart region. How do you breathe in? Breathe in is what you say to your heart. Try to lengthen your inhale softly and gently, not forcibly. Each time you breathe out, tell yourself, relax a little bit more. Deep hard breaths. Now withdraw your attention gently from whatever is going on in your life. Let everything go for a while. Your job and your achievements gone. Your possessions and your titles gone. Your worries and your concerns, let them also go. Gone. Your various relationships, gone. Your body, gone. Arrive at the state of simply being. From being free from all the layers that are put onto you. Ask yourself, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I? When everything that is not me is gone. Who am I in essence? Stay for a while in this state of just being. Become aware of your true self. Your true self is eternal, unchanging, all-knowing, and boundlessly blissful. Your true self is always there, has always been there, will always be there, waiting to be uncovered. Stay in this lightness. Sense the vastness. Be present in the experience of just being. Let it sink a little deeper. We will now continue our meditation journey. We will sing the well-known Hare Krishna mantra. If you know it, you can sing along in the chorus. If you do not know it, just stay in the space and let it surround you. The main thing is do this further practice of singing on this space. I sing the lead voice, and whenever I'm finished, please sing, you know. And again, obviously, just the coping and support. Is moving your body slowly a little bit. Take your palms together and wrap them a little. Time to come back to New York. Cover your palms, and cover your eyes with your palms, like embalming. Maybe wrap a little over your face, your arms, and give yourself time to return to room awareness. We will end the little reflection. Who are you? Are you your name? Are you your virtues or sins? Your deeds and achievements? Will any of these live your life for you? Are you your hands or legs? your brain or heart, your innermost thoughts, your secret moods. Are you your body or mind? Or are you inside them? Look back at your life. See yourself as a child with toys, a teenager with many questions, a young adult with an education and an apartment. Now look to the future and see yourself growing old. With the tired body of an old man or woman, your many roles have changed over time. But throughout these changes, you have always been there. Who is that you? From child to youth to old age, your body has changed many times, but you have been there throughout. Who is that you? I thank you very much for participating. When we make such journeys, you could say, or meditations in like-minded company, it is possible that we uplift ourselves inspired by the atmosphere. And for a brief moment, we might be able to reflect this. Well, everything that is not me falls away. We might have an inkling. It's almost as if the door to a dark room in which we are is opening for a moment, and through the click of the door, light falls. Yeah. But my dear everyone, whether this worked for you tonight or it did not work for you does not matter so much. What matters is even the briefest insights that you might have that has cleared your doubt in yourself. And yourself, I mean, your blue word self. Or even those who have gotten the meditation further than the guided tour was in God. We need to stabilize these insights. They should be daily there. They should always be there. They should not be brief flashes of insight. No, they should be there. They should be like the Peter right with that which pervades the entire body. You should know. You should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Not even the taxi driver in New York who gives you back too little change. You become undisturbed. And further, you come to this stage, for one who sees me everywhere. and sees everything in me. I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost for me. There are no doubts which come in between the understanding of the undisturbed, free self and the supreme. This is all there. It is your natural, inborn nature as living, the living being that you are, the living force that goes through you to come to this uncovered state. Good. I have reached my end. I mean, and now we could start really. Thank you so very much. Very wonderful community, really. You could see by the atmosphere. One can feel it. And Pamela was there. Yes. Yeah, well, it is very nice that we can do such things. And you have also been very nicely prepared for the meditations like this, so that become
Remembering who we are.
remembering who you are. I always say become who you are because Friedrich Nietzsche, the man from my village, said it. Good. Now the question is, where do we go from here?
Maybe just take a few questions and then more can be personal.
Yes. Are there immediate questions which you would like or things you would like to say? I have a question. Did you also experience to get out of this stage when I say rub your hands, you already know, and I say the word New York? The word is slightly unwilling, not oh my, this is good, this is a good place to stay. Don't stop. Did some of you feel that as well? I always say at the end of my meditation, I think after everything is done, it's good if you hate me. Then I bring you out. That means you hate me. But fine, so yes.
I'm finding the isolation. I've moved far away. I live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And I find the isolation, no satsang. It's challenging. Do you have advice for how to maintain sadhana in that sort of situation?
Yeah. Question I would like to repeat is, do you have any idea how to maintain spiritual practice when one is isolated and does not receive these inspirations from others? See, you need to end isolation. In whatever situation you are, isolated with many people around you, like New York. Sometimes we feel very alone, isolated in your working place, or isolated in the midst of, what was it, Midwest, Minnesota maybe? No, that's not Midwest. You need to end isolation. And there are various ways in which we can do so. Even when we are on the farm, there is now the curse of civilization, the internet, which is giving you also a lot of spiritual problems, satsangs, lectures, even following along spiritual practices. But from time to time, it's good to speak to living people. It's good to computer with all the windows on the gallery. Because in through being together, something happens that is beyond words. Energetically, it is described that during this time there is communication, for instance, on the heart level. Many other levels which become activated when you sit before a living person. So therefore, at least phoning, but sometimes you may have to take your horse from the farm and ride in gallop to where there is good association. And that's good. I think we all suffered in lockdown and we know our time to association. Anyone else? Then I would say, here, this will be the last question, yes.
You use the term spiritual experiences a few times. I'm wondering if you can clarify, is it experiences of some other place in some other realm, or do these experiences also filter into our daily life in terms of, I guess, like what are the range of spiritual experiences that one might be able to access?
Yeah.
Because, of course, what you share is a very profound story, but maybe all of us won't get that experience in our life. So how do we?
I don't really also wish that everyone needs to go to the surgeon's table. Yes, I totally understand. Have you all understood this very beautiful question? We will end after this. I'm so grateful that you asked this question. Really, I wanted to talk about it, but then I felt, time is also there. Very generally, there are three ways in which you can experience in this world, the world. The first is a material experience. The second is maybe both a material and a spiritual experience. And the third is a purely spiritual experience. The first experience is known in Sanskrit as adibodhik. You see the world composed of elements. Like now, I see this pillar, I see this industrial construction here of pipes going through the room. I hear in the back the preparations for your dinner is being made, sound vibration. I smell the most dreaded feature of American culture, that is AC. For me, for you it is good, wonderful. I wish long live the AC for you. I was sick in the voice. So these are all adibotic experiences which I make through my eyes, through my various senses, like the nose, the ear, everything. No? I take in material elements which are there in various combinations. I see you, I see the colors of your dress. Michael has a blue shirt today, and I see the expression of your faces and so on. Then there comes the second level. It's called the adhyatmic level. It's more an energy level. I, for instance, see, although I see Pamela is known to me since many years, I see, for instance, that although Pamela's face is covered, which is good in this situation, I'm not saying anything else, but I can feel she looks at me with joy. I think, oh, finally, after many years, It's an energetic thing. If someone can look like, I say they smile, but you can feel energetically they don't smile at you, they hate you. But they don't smile due to social convention. You feel more an energetic perception of reality. There are energetic perceptions beyond, for instance, let us call it the energy of a person or the inner intentions of a person. There can be very spiritual energies can be felt like divine love. And so, but then there is a purely spiritual level of understanding that is called the Adidevic level. And I would like to give you a most mind-boggling example. When you go to the river Ganga, on one level, it's H2O. Do we have this in America also? This name, water, H2O. It's made of, is it molecules? Not two molecules. On another level, my dear people, this is something for you to explore. It is spiritual energy, and you feel it. You come into this water, and although it may be physically cold, you feel, my God, something is going on. It is true. The Ganga takes away a burden from you, which is known as karma. You must have heard in the past. But then there is still another level where you see the river as a divine goddess. That's the the Adidevic level. So every perception in this world can be on one of these levels. Of course, there are sub-levels, but let's not get lost in philosophy, which is not relevant at this stage for us. You can have a material perception. You can have an energetic perception. You can have a purely spiritual perception of reality. And spiritual, and these are experiences. You asked about the level of experiences. So one material experience, then one which can be so, and then a purely spiritual experience. Most people don't know about spiritual practice. It's such loss. Imagine all of New York would do this type of practice and then chant mantras. You know, there would be no road rage anymore. Or less road rage, would be only road rage from the individual Britishness. So that's the gift of humanity, and it's free. Absolutely free. Let me make it New York. No problem. That's not screwy, isn't it? This and this. Not right. Something back. A little late come up to special expressions. Yes. And therefore, my dear everyone, it will be the last public statement in this room for me. Please inquire about the relevant spiritual practice for you. It is not, I can't give it like this for one shoe fits all. No, inquire with those who like Rasana, Hari Prasad, Vipin, Michael, and others. Yes, also a few exalted persons. You need to sit down really, and you need to say, I'm like this, what do you think? I have so much time, and you know, what would work for me best? And then you can go back. then it's good to commit to a regular practice. My dear everyone, I will be staying here, but please, from the sound, it sounds like Divya's kitchen. It is. Divya is rice culinary chef, and everything she cooks is not just good for this little gentleman, the tongue. No, it is good for the entire body, and there is a certain quality to food which will give you wings to fly. So please, I think you can go back there and you can meet also Divya. She has a very, very wonderful restaurant. I don't say this without reason. I was yesterday eating and I became totally satisfied, body, mind, and heart. Good.
Thank you so much, Sacinandana Swami. This has been very moving for me, and I've waited 5 years. We've waited 5 years to be able to have you back in New York, and it means a lot. We really hope and pray that this is the first of many, many experiences with you, that you can guide us so much more deeply into our spiritual being.
And it goes unlimitedly.
Yeah.
There is no limit. There is no limit. It goes unlimitedly deep. Yes.
And thanks to each of you for showing up and being with us. Really, it means so much. We're overjoyed. And we're also very grateful that we had a kind donor in our community who's made this event possible, who is anonymous. Very, very grateful for that spirit of service. And yes, thanks to Divya's Kitchen as well, as Sacinandana Swami has said. And please do meet Divya. She's right back there. So all the best. Have a wonderful rest of the evening here. And you'll have your dinner and time with each other and with Sacinandana Swami. Thank you very much.